Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hotel Room Yap with Michaela. It is Sunday morning, as you can see, Sunday morning. I am at the Kimpton Claret in Denver, Colorado, and wow, it is really bright and pretty out there. Crazy times to be alive. I slept okay. I don't know how y'all sleep when you travel. I think it just depends. Depends on the mattress, depends on the pillows, depends on like the fan in the room. Because, I've been a little stuffy in my nose waking up the past couple of days. But I turned off the fan last night, and I'm still a little stuffy. So I don't know. Maybe it's just something in the air. Maybe it's just the new atmosphere. That's not the right word. What's the word that I'm looking for? The right, I don't know. Not environment. I don't know. Elevation? Maybe elevation. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. These are pretty puffy. It's pretty good. Good pillows. Okay, now that I have dissected this bed in this hotel room. Yeah, I think, I think about, there's a couple of things running on through my mind, but about time, just healing things, and sometimes getting up when you're maybe well rested enough, but you could hit snooze, and how I feel like it does help to just get up and not let yourself wallow for another hour or something in bed. But I think actually what I want to talk about today is the act of continuously being the bigger person. And I think a lot of religions and lores and fables talk about this, and I'm familiar with Christianity, of course, because that is how I was raised. But the act of even, when somebody is working against you or gossiping about you or actively does something mean to you, you still being kind to them, being generous to them, supporting them in times of need or in general. And yeah, I think that can be sometimes hard for us to do, right? Especially if somebody has specifically done something to hurt you, hurt your reputation or hurt your chances of something. All of us have experience with this, right? Even just bullies in school hurt your feelings. But that perspective shift of okay, I can either take that energy, that vibe, and be that way back, or I can do the harder thing. And maybe, those actions make you upset for a while, which is valid, but then you can kind of be okay, great. That person clearly either needed to do that to feel okay about themselves, or they function that way because that's the only way they know how to cope, or they just weren't raised with the perspective of kindness or loving other people. Maybe their parents were also vindictive or judgmental or something like that. So, trying to have a little bit of empathy and extending an olive branch or being kind, moving forward. Now, there's a fine line, fellow people pleasers. There's a fine line between being kind to somebody and being a doormat, right? So you don't, need to fully forgive and welcome back in and invite them to your wedding and your birthday and tell them every secret of your life. That's... We don't need to do the extreme, which I had a hard time dealing with for a while. It was oh, are we good again? Cool, I will go back to just oversharing and trusting and all this stuff. No. No. So it's a fun balance of you can be kind to a person, you can be supportive, you can be, present without, letting them, I guess, back in fully. People can still be untrustworthy, or people can still continue to do mean things, and you can still be kind to them. And if that's a hard thing for you to do, and you're well, this person did this, or well, this person did, I could never. Some people are very toxic, so I understand if there's a period of time where maybe you need to not interact with somebody. Maybe you need to block someone. Maybe you need to not talk to somebody ever again. That is okay. But then in your rhetoric about them or about the situation, I think that there is a way where you can be cordial and honest about the dynamic or about what happened without stooping to their level of cruelty. Does that make sense? And why does this matter? Why does this matter? Why should we be a good person? Why should we be nice to those who are not nice to us? And I believe it's honestly for like your own health, your own mental health, your own emotional health. I think when you carry around negative good morning. Okay. When you carry around negative feelings and negative perspectives, it can ruin your mood. It can ruin your perspective on life that day. It can kind of just ruin how you approach things. If you have kind of that icky, like in your gut feeling of, I don't know, like whenever I've talked poorly about someone or made decisions based off of just like spite or jealousy, those sound very serious. I mean, I haven't done anything too drastic, I don't think, but like micro actions, you know? It ends up just making me feel more icky. But then I also had to deal with the slight guilt of like, you know, being at a point where maybe I'm not communicating with somebody as much anymore, or, you know, there was a little bit of separation, and then I'm like, oh, should I invite them to my birthday? And, you know, should I try to repair? No, we don't need to do that. But I also don't need to walk around just, you know, thinking or sharing or saying that they're a terrible person or that they're cruel or that they gossip or that they blah. Like, I don't need to attach those things to them. I can just really try my best to be neutral. And if anything comes up, I speak as cordially and kind of professionally. It was like, oh yeah, like blah blah blah, you know, that we, you know, aren't the closest or aren't the blah. I can keep it in that level for my own sake and for everyone else's sake. Lots of people have bad days. I've had plenty. Lots of people make mistakes. I do think that people are capable of apologizing for those things if they recognize them, and a lot of times people don't choose to apologize. Maybe they don't feel they need to. Maybe they feel weird doing so. There's a couple things in my life for sure that I feel sorry for, you know, kind of bigger things. But at this point, I'm not sure if it would be helpful or hurtful. And so that's a reason potentially why some people don't apologize for things too. Because sometimes an apology can kind of be self-serving. Like, I want to feel better about that, so I want to make sure I apologize so that I get the reassurance that, like, I'm okay now. And maybe the other person doesn't want that. There are some people in my life who I don't want to apologize to me. I never want to talk to them again. It's only like one people. English. One person, two people, very low list for that level of extremity. But there are a couple people who I'm not interested in their apology. I'm not. I'm not interested in spreading anything bad, but I'm not interested in their apology. I'm not interested in it. So perhaps people might not be interested in mine. That's also a tricky thing to deal with. But that's why I think it's easy to have grace. I think we all have things, you know, probably a couple things that we're like, that was not the best version of me. Or, oh, I definitely made that decision thinking I was in line with, you know, smart decision making, and it wasn't. Yeah, so I think a lot of us can relate to having a couple of moments in life like that. So that's the, you know, the grace that I try to have for other people, which is why, back to the beginning, I think it's, you know, best for us to just try to treat everyone and those who have not done us well over time equally kind? Unsure. But you get the message. I think it's really tough to coexist and work around people who you know have been cruel about you or towards you, behind your back, to your face, all the above, whatever. And so I think that can be really tricky. So if there are people in your life at work, in your family, you know, I think just maybe try having this perspective shift. And, you know, again, that doesn't mean you become super besties and you just open up and share every single detail, but you just kind of know that clearly this person, these people need to function that way because they think it's okay, they're comfortable doing it. I, you know, have, I guess, some empathy for that because that means that they're covering up other things, likely, or they're not happy with themselves, or they're insecure about something, or they just don't know how to connect any other way. There was a phrase, I'm forgetting the exact phrase. Oh my gosh, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Okay. Yes. Oh, Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay, cool. Okay, this is from Eleanor Roosevelt. I don't think I remembered that or knew that part. But my mom mentioned this. Was it my mom or was it in college? I can't remember, but I remember this resonating with me, and especially now as I'm getting older. The shift from like late 20s to early 30s is really interesting because you really start to notice, and you probably notice it even more as you get older, but the people who decide to take care of themselves and the people who decide to be very careful in just how they grow and really adjust their perspective and how they treat people and everything, and then the people who just don't pay attention and don't care, and they stay, it feels like they're still like 22 and they're 55 or something. Like, it's very apparent. But anyway, I found it. Yay. So Eleanor Roosevelt had this great, Eleanor Roosevelt, I'm a little surprised. That's awesome. I'm so happy about this. But she says that small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events or things, I guess. And great minds talk about ideas. And I have always found small talk and talking about other people incredibly frustrating. I'm like, what is the point? We're not growing in any way. We're not learning from each other. We're just yapping about other people. I think it's soul-sucking and hurtful and unnecessary. So if anything, to make Eleanor Roosevelt proud, try to just talk about events, things, or ideas, you know? I think all of us have the capability of at least being, I don't like the word average, but I mean, average just means like the general collection of minds, I guess. But being average or great is within everyone's capability, I think. None of us need to be small-minded and like yapping about other people. We don't need to. We don't need to do that. I love a room full of people yapping about things they want to build. I think it's so much fun. Even if I just meet you, I'm like, ooh, what's like an idea for something that you have like wanted to try or that you want to build or that you want to do? Like, tell me your dreams. Tell me your dreams. That's like one of the first things I ask whenever I'm like dating somebody too, which is probably, I don't know, it'll be right for the right person. But I'm like, so what's the dream? What's the dream? What drives you? What's like ticking up here in this mind? What's the vision? Tell me. I want to know the dream. And I get really bored real quick if you just are yapping about random crap. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Let's idea build. Let's dream build, baby. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my yap for today. I think it can really be a good practice for your character, for your own mental and emotional, a good practice for your own mental and emotional peace. To, yes, be kind to everyone, but really work on being kind to those who have not necessarily been kind to you. Again, for my people pleasers, this doesn't mean going above and beyond to try to integrate them back into your life or to do extra nice things to them so that they can try to like you. No, that's not what we're doing. We just are not letting their rhetoric and dictation of us affect how we speak and treat them. That's it. That is all we're doing. We're not going overboard to try to make them like us or integrate them back into our lives. Right? Right? Okay, great. Hopefully this was somewhat helpful. It is, so bright. Oh my goodness. You stay still. It is so bright out in Denver today. Gorgeous. Hello. 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 I'm probably going to attempt to go to the gym, go for a run. It's kind of bright outside, so I think I'm going to go to the gym because I feel like that sun could roast me alive. Hopefully this yap session was helpful or relatable. It can be a tricky thing to do, but I believe in you. I think you can do it. I've done it successfully some and unsuccessfully other times, but then we try again, try to get back to the successful. And we're still on this book. Yes, The Creative Act Away of Being Rick Rubin. It has been 3 months of me using this book, and that is okay because there are some great little nuggets in here. So we're going to flip to a fun little page and see what it gives us. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's do this. Okay. There were 2 spots. One of them talks about drugs in this particular moment. So we're going to do the other one. If you see tremendous beauty or tremendous pain where other people see little or nothing at all, you're confronted with big feelings all the time. These emotions can be confusing and overwhelming. When those around you don't see what you feel, don't see what you see, I can read, and feel what you feel, this can lead to a sense of isolation and a general feeling of not belonging, of otherness. Well, this feels fitting. Yeah, this is right underneath, they're talking about artists, this is why a lot of artists overdose, because there's just a lot of feelings. So this is the little section beneath that. If you see tremendous beauty or tremendous pain, where other people see little or nothing at all, you're confronted with big feelings all the time. These emotions can be confusing and overwhelming. When those around you don't see what you see and feel what you feel, this can lead to a sense of isolation and a general feeling of not belonging, of otherness. And even in your otherness, we are still going to be nice to people, even if they're mean about and to us. Because once people get to know you and know how kind and great you are, then you will explain yourself. And then there are some people that are just not going to vibe with you. And that's okay. We're still going to be kind to those people too. But you don't have to invite them to your birthday party. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for this lovely Denver insert of Hotel Room Yap with Michaela. And I'm going to go get ready. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.